Hello and welcome to Series 2 of The Joy of Writing. I'm your host, Mark Carew. In this series I will be talking to authors about the fun, the satisfaction, the joy they get from their writing, whether it's prose fiction, narrative non-fiction or poetry. In this episode I'm speaking again with Louise Fein, author of People Like Us, who offers some excellent advice to aspiring writers. She also tells us about a novel that really resonated with her. So, Louise, it's a great pleasure to talk to you again. It's always interesting to hear advice from writers to other writers, maybe just starting out or thinking about writing, on how they should go about it and what you found useful. What did you find useful going along in your journey writing your book?
Yeah, thanks for having me again on the show, Mark. My biggest piece of advice is keep going. However hard it is, just keep going. There were so many times when I felt I wasn't good enough and I wanted to give up, and the work I was actually doing at the time wasn't good enough. And I think every single writer, however experienced they are, goes through that process when they're writing a book, and it's not meant to be easy. So you've just got to keep going.
It's an extraordinary thing, really. I mean, you will hear lots of advice from writers. Number one, saying don't bother, it's awful. And then number two, well, if you do bother, then somehow grit your teeth and you'll get there in the end.
Yeah, definitely. But I think also there are fun parts along the way. So you do get days, and I think maybe if you're prepared for this, it feels better. You'll get days when you feel the writing goes really well and it's flowing and it's wonderful. And then you'll get days when it feels like you're walking uphill through treacle, and it's just, that is just part of the process.
Yes.
And other times you'll finish a day and you'll think, oh my gosh, I've just written the most amazing stuff, it's been brilliant. And then the next day you'll read what you wrote and you thought, this is absolutely terrible.
Yes.
But I think sometimes you're too close to the work and you have to put it away for a while, and then you go back to it, and often you think, actually, that's not bad. You know, you can see it when you've got some distance.
Do you have any strategies for giving yourself that sort of distance so you can come back with fresh eyes for your own work?
Yeah, well, what I tend to do is I tend to try to get through the first draft without worrying too much. So I will write, and then the next day I will just go back over what I wrote the day before, partly to get myself back into that mindset, but partly just to do a little bit of editing. So I do edit as I go along, but I plough through, and there will be parts when I think, I know this isn't quite right.
Yeah.
But I'll just leave a little note to myself, and then I'll carry on. Because I think you really have to get to the end, and then you can sit back and look at the whole thing and work out what you need to do with it. So,
absolutely. I think those are very wise words. I think one of the mistakes you make when you're starting out is that you think, well, I'm going to write this from A to Z, and it'll be pretty darn perfect when I'm done if I just revise all the time as I go along. Yeah. And it's not like that at all. And then you realise with some experience, you think, no, just get that first draft done.
Yeah, definitely. And the other little tip I would say, because when I was starting out, some people said to me, because I had no contacts at all in the publishing industry or with agents or anything, and someone said to me, look, just get plugged into social media, start following agents, start following, publishers, so you get a feel for what's out there and how to do it. So I did that, but I found it really, really demoralizing.
Yeah.
Because all these people were getting, these 7-figure advances and 6-figure advances, and every debut was stunning, and then you'd be reading books as well and they'd be amazing, and you just would look at what you'd done and think, I can never write like that. It's never going to be any good. But of course, you're comparing your first draft with a finished article that has been through loads of edits, loads of help, So my advice is don't worry about any of that. Just keep going and you will get there.
Yeah, I think again, I mean, yeah, totally agree. I don't think you can join in that swim and start splashing around with people who've made it and, like you say, got massive book deals. Your responsibility is to complete that first draft and then make it even better.
Yeah.
No, that's very wise words again. So that was good for you to be able to recognise that yourself, and that's some advice from other people which wasn't really sort of for that time. Have you found working in groups or writers groups or friends to be helpful as well?
Yeah, well, I did do a master's. The thing that really kicked off my writing was I have always written, but I'd never dared to write a novel. It had been sort of short stories and poetry and things. And then I saw an advertisement for a master's in creative writing, but it was specific to writing your first novel, and I thought that's the course for me. And then I was delighted to be accepted onto it, and then we obviously were critiquing each other's work as we went, and then we kept going. So after the course had finished, we carried on as a writers group with critiquing each other's work. We're all at different stages. Some people still haven't finished their first novel. Some people one person got a publishing deal before she'd even finished the course.
Wow.
So we were all at different stages. But yeah, that's been absolutely key to help. And even if you're not in a writers group, I think you have to be careful about the group that you pick, because they need to be on a similar sort of level to you, maybe doing similar things. We were all writing novels, so that I found helpful because we were all having the same problems. I have got a friend who she's got people doing lots of different things in her group, and I don't think the critique is always quite supportive, which is lovely, but actually what you want is people to be saying, look, I really don't think this part is working because of XYZ, because that's what's going to make it better at the end of the day.
Yes. So to find that group, there's a little bit of luck there to get the right people in the same room, virtually or otherwise. But that sounds like the basic principle of feedback, mutual peer-to-peer support. So that came out of like-minded people doing the same creative writing course.
Yes.
Yeah. And you'll keep on now as buddies. Yeah, that's excellent.
Definitely. I learnt as much critiquing other people's work as I did from them critiquing mine. So I just wanted to say that it's as useful looking at what other people are doing, which is the benefit of a group, because then you are doing that. In terms of books, and to be honest, I know a lot of people have found that helpful, but I haven't really done that much of that, partly because the course covered a lot of the writer's craft. I do listen to quite a lot of podcasts, so I listen to the Honest Authors. I don't know if you've come across them. So yeah, and just chatting with other authors I found really helpful. So I've got quite a lot of author groups going now, and yeah, there's a lot of information swapping through that.
I mean, as I said, there are a lot of advice out there, and whether you get it from a single book or a writers group, there's different forms of the advice. But I think writing is such a funny thing, a strange thing, that you only really learn how to do it by doing it.
And reading as well. I mean, I think you absorb so much sort of just without even knowing when you read books, and reading really widely as well. I mean, I read really widely, so I think you learn different things from different genres as well, that you can all bring into your own writing.
Yes, we've had that before, that advice. I mean, write a lot, of course, and read a lot, and I think sometimes that's forgotten, but you do have to read incredibly widely, just to span the entire subject. I mean, back in the day when I was an academic, I used to exhort to students to read widely around the subject, as we all did. But they perhaps weren't so into the subject as I was. Oh well, never mind. But that does bring us nicely onto your influential book that you selected, one that really resonated with you. If you'd like to introduce that.
Yeah, so the book I picked I picked this particular book because it was pertinent to the book I wrote, and it's All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Doerr. And I actually read this book a couple of times. The first time I just read it as a reader and loved it. And then when I was writing my novel, I read it again, and I then sort of just kept reading parts of it because I found it struck so much of a chord with me, because it achieved what I kind of wanted to achieve, but I didn't think I was capable of. But the thing that I took from it was I felt it had this rhythm, this beat to it. And I knew that I needed to find that beat to my book. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think every book has a certain rhythm to it.
Yes, agreed.
And I really felt it in this book. And I didn't kind of realise that's what I needed until I read it in this book. And then I found it in mine. And I just felt there was so much between the pages. There was so much unsaid in the book. And I think I have a tendency probably to overwrite. And I realised when I read this book that I needed to cut a lot out. And that, there's more that's said that's unsaid. And I just felt that his, everything was so beautiful. The language was beautiful. And he did the relationship between these two people that really didn't connect in the book so beautifully. And that was what I kind of wanted to capture in mine. I didn't go about it at all in the same way. He's told his story from two different perspectives. I've only told mine from one. But it was really capturing that essence that I wanted to achieve in my book.
By the essence, you mean the sort of heartbeat of the book?
Yes.
So that was interesting. You said that it helped you find the beat in your own work and to clear away what wasn't needed.
Yeah.
So by that you mean, well, here's the driver, here's the engine room. And now you want to get that sort of motion going, and then reader picks up on that and goes, "Aha! I see. This is where we're going with this."
Yeah, I mean, I think a book. I mean, it depends how you describe it. It has a heart to it, or it has a thread that leads all the way through that book. And in All the Light We Cannot See, it's this relationship between this German boy who he's in the Hitler. He's in a special Hitler school. He doesn't really want to be there, but he has to be. And he's brilliant with his sort of. He's a radio operator. And actually, the other thing that really influenced me was the research he must have done for this book was extraordinary, and it came through so brilliantly, but without it being sort of pounded into you. So that was also an influence, but the thread of the story was his relationship with this blind French girl, and they did meet, but very briefly. But it was through his radio broadcast that there was this sort of relationship going, and that was the thread that kept you interested in the book. And there's a relationship at the heart of my book. But what I wanted to achieve with that sort of subtlety and the messages that came through without stating them obviously, if that makes sense.
So the author had a nice approach to making contact between characters.
Yes, it was the way he handled the relationship. Without just stating it all
Yeah.
really obviously, and yeah, so I wanted to try to achieve something subtle like that in the
Yes.
book.
Okay.
And it meant I had to almost rein back a bit in what I was doing, so it's a bit more understated than overstated, if that makes sense.
I do. I mean, are we getting onto the old sort of show and not tell?
Well, partly, but I think it's partly that. That's the kind of obvious thing, but it's more than that. It's about the hidden messages in between lines, and just getting that flavour of the period, the flavour of everything. So, I mean, you know, I did a ton of research for my book.
Yes.
95% of it isn't in the book. So you kind of hope that the flavour of everything is in there without it being obviously stated.
Yes.
It doesn't feel like a history lesson.
But to you, all your research gives you a great understanding of that time and setting.
Yeah.
And then from the book, All the Light We Cannot See, you're getting the same idea. You're transported to that place, and that's essential for holding your imagination in the story.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, so I mean, it influenced me in a number of ways. In that way, in the way he handled the relationship, and in the way the sort of the beat of the book.
Yes. Okay. And for the characters, they're only sort of superficially similar, I suppose. The setting is wartime, Germany and France.
Yeah, I mean, his book is actually set during the war, and mine is more about the build up to the war.
Yes, very interesting.
But it's, you know, he does have a character who is he's not so much brainwashed into the Nazi concept, because he doesn't really, but he just goes along with it.
Yeah, I mean, he's got no choice, really.
He's got no choice.
Yeah.
Whereas my character is positively supportive, at least at the beginning of the book. But his book shows very clearly how people just didn't have a choice. And I wanted to explore that in my book, because my book comes much earlier. It's really, how did they get to that point? How did they arrive at what he's painted so beautifully in his book?
Right.
And I think that's what my book explores, is how they got to that point.
Yes. How did we come to this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Which brings, I mean, it's nice coming back to your first point of just keep going. So if you do find such a book that chimes with you, and you can see, yes, I wish I'd have written it, or I'd love to do the same.
Yeah.
So again, and only that will come from reading widely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because no one's going to tell you, read this book.
No, that's true. And sometimes I think it can come from a book you don't even expect it to, or it's just something that clicks at times. You know, as a writer, I'm sure you've had similar experience.
Absolutely. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, that's one of the great sort of, I mean, you know, joys of the whole business, is that you read something that suddenly clicks with you.
Yes.
And that's absolutely it. I mean, it's the inspiration. You just have to be ready to discover your own inspiration, and such a funny thing. Can't write that down in a little paperback bestseller on how to write a book. You've just got to do it. That's
right. And I think if you haven't quite found it, if you're sort of floundering a bit in your writing, and it may even come, you know, maybe it come from a film, or, you know, there's just different ways that you connect to stories, I think, as well.
I think that's a very good point, actually. If you do want to write and be inspired, well, you have to find your own inspiration. If you're looking around for the book that says, here's how you write a book, you know, I'm sure a figure like Yoda would pop up and say, oh, this is not the way. You must dig deeper and wider. But anyway, I don't know much about Yoda. but again, it just sort of exemplifies the strange and funny nature of the job of writing anything. And yes, it's always fantastic to hear of authors who get there, who kept going and found their own way there. I mean, that's just a remarkable thing in itself. Thank you, Louise. Your advice, I'm sure, will be inspirational to many.
Thank you. I hope so. Yeah.
I'm sure it will do. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mark.
In the next episode, we meet Andy MacDonnell, the poet and director of Gatehouse Press, who published his debut collection of poetry, The Somnambulist Cookbook, last year.